Joker shocked us all as the first DLC fighter revealed for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but new information and rumors may hint at the next character to join the brouhaha. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Gabe is here, and a tweet this morning from Persona Central discusses Persona 5 Arena development being delayed and P5R Complete Edition releasing in 2019. A leaker rumor rat on 5channel, a Japanese board, discussed that he believes Joker, obviously the character, the stage, mementos, Jack Frost appearing on screen with a skill, and discusses some marketing for P5R, the complete version, and P5U, the fighting game. He says P5R is 2019, P5U is delayed because Arc System Works is busy with the development of a Grand Blue fighting game. Now, take that with a grain of salt, but that salt gets a little bit tastier because this was put up 5 days before they announced a new Grand Blue fighting game, which was not predicted or rumored in any way. So, all of a sudden, the fact that they did announce a Grand Blue fantasy fighting game for PS4 adds validity to this leak. It was an anonymous user, so we don't know if they have any history, but they go on to discuss more Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC dirt. They say that the next character is Erdrick, a hero from Dragon Quest. The stage is Alfgard. They say that there will be male and female skins of Erdrick, as well as 2 colors for Ann Lucia and the DQ11 hero. He says Slime will appear on screen with a skill, achieved through an active collaboration on Square's side, to the benefit of overseas marketing for the DQ series. Now, again, grain of salt, but we're going to add more because this ties back to Vergaben, who was our probably most notable and reliable Smash Bros. Ultimate leaker pre-release. He came up with Ridley at E3, he referenced Isabelle, Simon, Ken, Incineroar. He is pretty spot on, and he tweeted back on November 3rd, a Square Enix character will be the first DLC released for the Fighter Pass released for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is incorrect, as we know. But he felt confident enough to put that out there as someone that does not tweet a lot. And if we look backwards in the history of Das Vergaben and his rumors/leaks, he's been predicting Square Enix fighter for a very long time. He said back in August, September that there would be another one. Quote, I will say the latest that I've heard is that Square Enix will be getting a new character though, but I don't know for sure who it is at the moment. He also said that a source that is not wrong is also predicting a Square Enix character. So this all kind of lines up, Gabe. What do we think?
Okay, there is a lot to break down here. First, I kind of wanted to touch on the Joker information a little bit. It's cool that we now have some information on what it could be, and we're probably going to know what those stages are, well, what the one stage is, before we hear about another fighter whatsoever. So if it does turn out that the Joker information that we have now turns out to be true, then I think it's going to be safe to say that, like, okay, Erdrick is going to be coming, and like every other rumor, you're going to want to take it with a grain of salt, but Square Enix representation makes sense. We know from Reggie's, statements that something along the lines of Joker from Persona is what you can expect, like, going forward. So for me, at least, that leads me to believe that it's going to be third-party stuff for the most part. I wouldn't rule out completely a Nintendo character maybe towards the end of the Fighters Pack, but I think the first couple are definitely third-party, and a Square Enix representative, like you said, has been mentioned for so long, and Erdrick kind of makes sense. It would give you the opportunity to be male or female, and that's really cool. And you already touched on some of that stuff there, but how would you feel? Do you have any affinity for Erdrick? I know that Dragon Quest isn't your thing. I know that he is sort of a mainstay from the first 3 games, more so the third, but how would you feel about that?
I have no personal attachment to Dragon Quest, so it's kind of ho-hum for me on the nostalgia front, but I like his character design. It makes a lot of sense. As you mentioned, you have the male-female thing that fits in well with what they like to do. He is a sword-based character, so surely we'll have a moveset that is familiar and hopefully fun to play. I know that you aren't the biggest fan of just more sword-based characters, but when we look at what they got going on in terms of these collaborations, Square Enix makes sense. At some point, Dragon Quest XI is coming to Switch, and so it would be a nice tie-in, especially if you do have that DQ11 hero skin on there. And I think in terms of partnerships, what Nintendo would be looking to do, what Sakurai would be looking to do, it makes a whole lot of sense. I'm not going to say it's a must-do, but to me, this is incredibly likely because I do trust Vergaben. I think he has a record, as we mentioned, that holds up very well. He was wrong about Square Enix being the first DLC character to be released. But if you also look back at Leaky Pandy's rumor about the Game Awards and a character that could have tied into a game from another category, I don't know. Everything kind of just lines up, and Square Enix being referenced over and over again. I know a lot of people early on in the Vergaben rumor hunt were hoping for Geno, but you're right, it does seem like Nintendo is going heavy third party here, which that's the part that I guess I feel a little weird about. It. I'm okay with Dragon Quest if that's the direction they choose to go. I just kind of wish it was more Nintendo focused, and I worry that putting Piranha Plant out there at the forefront is like, hey, that's the Nintendo appeal, and now we're going elsewhere. I will also highlight that Vergaben was pretty confident about a Minecraft inclusion, so if you're looking for epic crossovers and you're looking for big partnerships, Steve may be third, fourth, fifth, one of those fighter pack characters.
One thing I did want to say is just because Vergaben said that a Square Enix character was going to be revealed first, and that didn't mean that wasn't the plan at some point, and then things just changed. That's something that could have easily happened, and yeah, let's go ahead and give that some, like, let's just point that out, basically saying like, hey, maybe this was the plan originally when Vergaben heard about it, and then things just change, and things change all the time, especially with something as fluid as the Game Awards. We know that they are working on that thing up until like the very last minute. They're doing rehearsals the morning of the show, so yeah, things could have changed. So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, so Erdrick, as we mentioned, a lot of history in Dragon Quest, and it would make sense that they kind of go back to maybe the most notable if you're an OG fan of Dragon Quest. And as we know, the franchise has held home on a Nintendo for a long time, and I think tying this in to an eventual DQ11 on Switch makes sense. And if we are going to use that sort of logic, does that also then highlight and indicate that Persona 5, this complete version, comes to Switch in 2019 as well? Is this fighter pack not only a vehicle to deliver interesting third-party characters to Smash Bros., but also help usher in games to the Switch? And it would be kind of cool if each one was tied to either a recent or upcoming Switch release.
You mentioned Persona Central. Like, since the announcement of Joker, they have been adamant that it's coming. That Persona is coming to Switch at some point, and that it's being worked on, and that it'll probably get announced like next year.
Yeah, and I think that would be cool. I'd be excited for that. It would be another nice get for Nintendo, and help, I guess, bridge the gap for people that don't have any familiarity with Joker and are like, why is this character important and why is he being added to Smash? But we'll have to keep our eyes on this and see what happens. Quick note, Atlas is holding Persona Super Live 2019, a concert in April of next year, and most likely that is where we'll see game announcements. So I would expect we know the next fighter before then, but that would be probably where any sort of like Switch version or complete version or anything of that sort was detailed, highlighted, released. But we have to have, I don't know when it is. I'm assuming the next Direct showcases the next character. I know you were saying you think that Joker will get a little bit more of the limelight in terms of like his playable moveset and stage and whatnot, but I think they got to kind of move on this at some point.
Well, I mean, we don't have Piranha Plant yet, like, released, and then we know nothing about Joker other than him being in the game. We don't know the moveset, we don't know the stage, we don't know the music stuff, and they like doing that. So I feel January Direct, you showcase Joker and make sure that that's like fully, because you want to entice people to buy this thing if they haven't already done so, right? Like the concept of Joker being in there is cool, but we got to see how it's going to work in practice. I feel like, like what personas in there, and I think the stage is going to be very important as well. So I think they highlight all that before they announce whatever character comes next.
I think that they do need to kind of move quickly on what the roster is for the fighter pack. Because remember, currently they're selling the fighter pack as the fighter pack. You're not going to be able to buy individually until they're released. So right now, if you want to dip in on 25, it is a big unknown, save for that Joker is in it. So I do hope that they come a little bit quicker with the announcements of the characters, and then, maybe there can be some Smash presentation, either part of a Direct or whatever they want to do to highlight more specifics. But let us know what you think in the comments down below. Do you believe this 5-channel leaker who did call this Grand Blue Fantasy Fighting game 5 days in advance, and all of it ties back to Vergaben and a Square Enix character representing the company in Smash Bros. Ultimate? Or is it all just too convenient and people are just picking on little details and making, their own, quote, educated guesses? Let us know your take in the comments down below. And if this was true, how would you feel about Erdrick being the next part of the fighter pack? We'd love to hear what you have to think. Until then, though, thanks so much for watching today. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from Smash Bros. Ultimate, the Switch, and more. We've got you covered. Until next time, for myself and Gabe, thanks again for watching. SwitchForce out.